Hey, it's Ryan Hildreth. Didn't ever think I would be making this video, but it's definitely going to be a more intimate video about what has been going on in the past, what has it been, 6 months? Haven't uploaded to social media. So in today's video, I'm going to reveal exactly what I've been up to, what's happened to tons of parts of my business, and basically share with you 3 life lessons that I've learned throughout my 20s and 30s, especially in the last 4 years, that hopefully you could gain something from. Hopefully you can learn from some of the mistakes I made so you don't make them. And then also, hopefully you could bring something positive out of this video, because I'm going to be sharing a lot. So let's go over kind of what I'm going to be sharing. This is kind of a raw video. As you can see, I have my new setup here. Actually in a different state. But basically, I'm gonna talk about why I sold my luxury home in Texas, why we moved back to California, what I did with my Ferrari, why my main YouTube channel got shut down. So you probably noticed that this channel only has a couple hundred subscribers. This was an old backup channel that I had, but my main channel that I built up over 8 years with tons of content and footage that I can never get back again, got shut down, had over 600,000 subscribers. So that was kind of a bummer, but we're gonna talk about what happened with that. I'm gonna reveal 2 of my faceless channels that got shut down, okay? Since I'm not in the coaching space of YouTube automation anymore, I'm basically just gonna reveal everything and give everything away and show you exactly what channels I had. I sold off a remainder of my channels. We'll talk more about that. And then I'm going to talk about why I shut down Cashflow Channels, which was my multi-million-dollar coaching company. We had tons of success stories, and why I decided to just shut that down and kind of be off social media for the good past 6 or 7 months. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you and kind of talk about what I've been up to and how I plan on turning $500,000 that I set aside just to show you, just to be kind of show you the journey of turning $500,000 into 10 million. And this is something that I believe everyone should be doing, especially if you live in the United States. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing and how you could be a part of that journey. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to be providing some, photos, videos popping up as well, just so you could kind of see what I've been up to. Now, before we jump into the lessons, if you want to follow along my journey on my new socials, where I'm going to be documenting turning $600,000 into 10 million and how you could do it alongside me, go ahead, click the very first link down in this description. That's going to be my newsletter, where I will be sharing all of my new socials and what I'm up to and how you can basically follow along with me, because I'm going to be sharing everything and teaching everything for free on YouTube on the new channel. So go ahead, click that, and let's go ahead and jump into it. The first lesson that I learned was that you should move away from your hometown or home state to figure out where you want to be, okay? For me, I grew up in California. That was my home state, lived there for 29 years until me and my wife decided to move out to Austin, Texas. We moved away from Cali. Obviously, there was a lot going on in 2020. It was crazy times. We didn't like the politics that were happening. We didn't like being forced to stay in our house and not being able to enjoy the amenities of California that we paid for, right? The income tax here in the top brackets, above 13%, right? So we're paying this hefty tax, but not being able to enjoy the amenities, and we're always inside. So we decided to just pick up, go, and try something new. And Austin seemed to be that place. I mean, Elon Musk was moving out there. Oracle moved their headquarters out there, and tons of other companies. So we really saw the growth there. And when we flew in, it was kind of a no-brainer for us, especially the size of house you can build for the amount of money, okay? So yeah, we ended up building a luxury home. We purchased it in 2020. So we got 2020 prices on the land and obviously the house. And then it was done being built in April of 2022. So that was $1 million home, 3,100 square feet. I'll pop up a video. This was a fully custom house. Everything was custom. The garage, the kitchen, everything was custom. My wife designed all of it, and it was pretty cool being able to design a house like that. Now, there's a lot of headaches that we'll talk about later, and why we ended up selling the house, but we'll kind of get into that in a bit. So let's kind of go over what we liked about Austin, Texas, and why I recommend moving out of your home city or home state, especially if you're looking kind of to grow and see a trajectory in your lifestyle, in your business. We loved the hospitality. Like, Southern hospitality is a real thing. Like, in California, we didn't know any of our neighbors, like none. We weren't friends with any of our neighbors. No one talked to each other. In Texas, we knew our whole neighborhood. Like, literally everyone on our street we knew. We would hang out, we'd, do barbecues, what have you, go to dinner with our neighbors. And that was just something that I never experienced before. And I really, really enjoyed that. Everyone was just so warm and welcoming. So that is something that my wife and I decided we were going to bring back to California when we moved back. So that was one thing we loved in Texas. Another thing was the Ferrari events. I mean, I'm a car nut. Obviously, I've driven supercars for the past, I don't know, since I was 25 years old, so 7 years. I've owned Ferraris, McLarens, what have you. But they have Circuit of the Americas. So I'm a Formula One fan. I've been watching since I was 5 years old. So that was amazing. And we decided to purchase a Ferrari from Ferrari of Austin. Shout out to Keith and James for always helping us out and being so kind to me and my wife. So we bought a car there. And when you buy a car, you get all the benefits of, especially with Ferrari, I would say Ferrari mostly. McLaren, Lamborghini, not so much. But, the Ferrari events were great. We had police escorted events. Like, we'd start off at the dealership and then drive all the way to a restaurant or to the track. And we'd be escorted by police. They'd be, pulling everyone over, or like telling everyone not to be in our lane and just flying through red lights and stuff like that. Like, that's stuff that would never happen in California ever. That is just not possible. So in Texas, a lot more things are open and free. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to be able to experience that. I drove my car on the track 3 times, which was great. Really awesome experience being able to push the car to its limits and being able to see that these cars are track machines. Like going 160 into a corner, slamming on the brakes as hard as you can is just the craziest feeling ever. So really enjoyed the events, and it really changed us as people. I think my wife and I became a lot kinder. We became a lot more community-oriented, family-oriented, and that's one of the big reasons we decided to move back. We were supposed to start trying for kids. That didn't end up happening just because we were so busy with, lifestyle, with work, with business, with the house, that we just never got around to it. But once we kind of started going back to church, we started being more involved with community and our family, we decided to move back. So some of the things we didn't like in Austin, number one, we were just really far from my family. Like, my whole family's in Southern California. So that was a bummer. We really missed them, especially, wanting to have kids and stuff. Like, it just wasn't going to be convenient to be so far from parents. Another thing we didn't like was our house was so far from everything. Like, we were really out there in the hill country. So, it takes 25 minutes to get to your nearest Whole Foods, to your nearest, for me to take my car to the dealership to get serviced or, whatever, it would take, 50 minutes just to get all the way across town to Austin, to downtown, just to get the car serviced. So, we didn't like that. We like optimizing for being close to everything. Like, right now, our gym is 4 minutes away. Whole Foods super close. Everything's super close. So that was another thing we didn't like in Austin. And then ultimately, like, we were just optimizing for being indoors. And because it's so hot in the summer, it's so hot, you cannot go outside. Like we would go walking for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but you can't do that in 105-degree weather. So we were really missing the beach and really having a sense of gratitude for the things that we had in California, but we never enjoyed and we were never grateful for and we never took advantage of. Like when we lived here, we went to the beach maybe twice in 6-7 years, me and my wife. So, some of those things, we definitely learned a lot. So yeah, we decided, hey, the house was a major headache, tons of fixes, HOA dues increasing, all of these things that take time away from your enjoyment, that we just said, we want to start over. Let's go back to California, be close to our family, start trying for kids. And that's what we ended up doing. So we listed our house for sale. Luckily, we sold it at a profit. Very, very lucky, especially in this market. We were okay with just breaking even. But we sold for a profit. We actually sold for the most in our neighborhood at the time. So that was pretty good. And then basically packed up the cars, shipped my Ferrari, and I'll throw up some pictures right now and videos, and shipped them to California, where we would later meet our cars in 7 days later. So shipped all our stuff. We sold to a wonderful family that, really is going to enjoy our old house. And now we're here back in California and just enjoying this weather, enjoying the roads, everything. Like the roads are smooth, like little things you didn't think about. Like this is, hopefully this is what the taxes are going to, but like you'll notice like in Texas, there is no state income tax. So of course you're making a lot more because you're not paying that, especially if you're a high earner like me. But there's no street lights, like some of the random, most little minute things that you would never think about. There's no street lights. The roads are because there's so much construction going on, I get it, but the roads were pretty rough. Like, worrying about my car getting chipped by rocks, this and that. That wasn't enjoyable. So, we're really enjoying every little thing that, like the smooth roads, the beach, the street lights, like every little thing that a normal person wouldn't even think about, but we definitely think about it. So, I appreciate everything in California, like family, being close to everything. I have a different perspective. Like we're a lot more just friendlier to people. We say hi to people. Like I know that's a weird thing in California, like just randomly say hi to people in your neighborhood, but we do it, and just really enjoying the time here. Really the weather for me is a big, big, big thing. Like when I envision what I wanted my life to look like, it wasn't sitting indoors with 105, 110 degree weather, like for 3 months straight. That's just in the winter, freezing weather, not my cup of tea. I never grew up with that, so it's really strange for me. Now, maybe you grew up in a place where it snows or where it's hot, so you're like, when you're young, you get used to that. Me, I didn't. We lived, in SoCal with SoCal weather my whole life pretty much. So yeah, really enjoying that we're back. So that was one thing, moving from our hometown to see where we truly want to be. It really gave us a sense of gratitude for the things that we have here in California and that we pay good money for, we pay high taxes for, and that's fine because I have an abundant mindset now to where it's like, okay, they charge me 13% on income, I'll just make 13% more. You know what I mean? Like instead of trying to penny pinch here and there, you give up certain benefits, certain features of, things that you would never think about until you move somewhere else. And you're like, man, I miss that, right? I miss going to the beach and then going to the mountains an hour away and then going to, NorCal and enjoying the Bay Area or like whatever, just the beauty of the ocean and little things like that. So the second thing that I learned, I know this is kind of a rambling rant. Hopefully you're learning a little bit just about me. But yeah, this is the most intimate video I've ever really put up, and just feels weird being like fully authentic, but I'm in a position where I can do that and I can I want to do that. So that's why I'm kind of revealing everything. Number two is invest as much of your income as possible into long-term assets and a cash emergency fund. I know this is such a like generic piece of advice, very vanilla, but it's something that really has saved me, because there were times in my business in the past. We've been in business since I started 2017. So 7 years. In the past 7 years, so much has changed for me, right? I've made millions with Cashflow Channels. But I've also been in a position where, and maybe you knew or maybe you didn't, I didn't reveal it on social media, but there was times where we didn't have much. And, I put us in that position, buying all these, just spending money, buying supercars, doing all this stuff instead of investing and saving, and having that cash emergency fund. There was even a time where we lost a lot of money in the stock market because I was doing a strategy that I didn't fully understand. We were making good money with it until 2020 happened, and the market had the fastest crash since 1987. So that really blew up that account, and that was that was a six-figure loss there. So there was times where we didn't have much to fall back on. So in the last 4 years, I really took my advice. This piece of advice is invest as much of your income into long-term assets and a cash emergency fund. Basically, I went extreme on the other end these last 4 years. I know it may not seem like it because I was always going on vacation and I was all these Ferrari events and buying new cars and doing all these cool stuff, but I was really putting away a good chunk of change. Okay. So, when you're doing well, make sure to sock as much of that away as you can, because it's human nature, right? It's human nature, especially if you grew up broke like me. We're like, I would say in between lower middle class and middle class, somewhere in between, whatever. It's all the same. I would just have to, if looking back now, I would say lower middle class, just from a perspective of having money. Definitely lower middle class. When you have that mindset, when you get money, you want to enjoy it. You want to spend it. You want to elevate your lifestyle. You want to do all the cool things that you see on TV or, rappers or whatever, like actors, actresses. You want to do those things. So when I first started making a lot of money, that was kind of my mindset. Obviously, I've matured now. I'm 32 years old and been through the ringer, through ups and downs. So that's what I could say. It's human nature to spend as your income increases, is to increase your lifestyle. Human nature. We live in a consumer society. This is America. This is what is being promoted to us on social media. What's being promoted to us by brands, by advertisements, TV, etc. So put as much away as you can. If I had to say a percentage, I mean, at least 20%, at least. If you're not doing 20%, then figure out how you can put away at minimum 20%. You'd like to build that up to at least 50% or 70%. Obviously, depending on your income, it's gonna be harder to do that. So focus on increasing your income, and then once you get that situated, make sure to be putting away higher percentages as you're increasing your income. All right. So one thing I've learned, let's see what else. So my main YouTube channel got shut down. 600K subscribers got shut down. Policy, whatever. YouTube said, I violated this policy. I've been uploading the same type of content for the past 8 years. So, this whole policy guideline situation, I'm not buying it. I tried appealing, didn't work. I even tried reaching out to my YouTube partner manager, and he was like, this is kind of above my pay grade. I can't. He reached out to his superiors, and his superiors were like, we can't do anything about it. So it was a huge bummer. The worst part about it was there was a lot of content on there that I didn't have saved. Old videos of me and Tanner, me and Hayden, just when I was young, in my mid 20s. And it kind of sucks that I can never get those videos back. Those are done and over with. So just a side note, take pictures, take photos, take videos of you and your family, and keep those somewhere on a hard drive. Don't just leave it on social media, because potentially it could get taken away from you. So that's kind of when I decided YouTube automation is not a viable business long-term to coach. Okay. So this is why I stepped away from coaching as well. But my current clients are ahead of the curve, right? They have the first movers advantage. When I started teaching this, there was specific strategies, niches, YouTube channel ways of doing things that basically gives them an edge going forward. So like, I don't feel comfortable teaching it to new people if there is no edge, okay? There is so much competition, and YouTube is upping their guidelines and being strict on every little thing. Your channel could get attacked by other people, and mind you, that happened, okay? So I had a couple channels that were attacked by competitors in the space that deem themselves trustworthy and credible, yet they're attacking my channels and attacking my clients' channels. Just that was just a pain in the ass. So that was another thing. Like, I was just like, okay, this is not a viable 10-year plus business, therefore I'm not going to teach it anymore. All right, so that's kind of when I decided I didn't want to play the churn and burn game like I used to in affiliate marketing, going through hundreds of ad accounts, Facebook ad accounts, getting them shut down, all that weird stuff. It's just not viable. I'm not in the position right now where I want to be doing that kind of stuff. I want to be doing long-term, I want to not be stressed thinking about my ad accounts overnight, or my channels that are potentially getting attacked or shut down, right? So, that was one thing. Another thing I didn't enjoy about that specific business model and teaching it and coaching it, obviously I enjoyed coaching it, but I didn't enjoy not being able to be fully transparent with my channels, like being able to show my clients or show my audience my channels. And the reason I couldn't do this is because, like I said, these channels were getting attacked. They were being copied like carbon copies. I've had competitors make carbon copies of my channel, upload basically the same video, same logo, same everything, and I wasn't able to do anything about it. I complained to YouTube. They couldn't do anything, so that right there too was like, I want to do something going forward, which I will be revealing at the end of this video, that I can basically share everything. I could share everything. You're going to see everything. You're going to see all the accounts and everything that I do, so that you could build alongside me. Okay. So that was another thing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to reveal two of my channels. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this was one of my channels, and this one got shut down. Both of these channels got shut down last year. So this channel right here, Make Money Girl, this was in the Make Money space. And mind you, these two channels that I'm going to show you are in the same niche. My remaining channels that I sold off to someone who made me an offer earlier this year, I cannot reveal those channels because obviously I don't own them anymore. But these ones I could show because I shut them. They got shut down. Same thing, community guidelines and carbon copies. You can see that there are carbon copies of these channels out there. So this one, this one did like, it was doing anywhere from 2,400 to like 3,500 a month. Not my biggest channel, but this one made about $100,000. And then this channel, which you've probably seen before, called Finance Girl. This one was the channel, like one of my biggest. Okay. I had two channels. This was one of them, two channels that were my biggest. This was one of them. The other one was in a different niche, but this one made me over $500,000. So I was very, very bummed out when this channel got shut down. Had about, as you can see right here, 153,000 subscribers. By the time it got shut down, it already had 500,000 subscribers. So think about that. Like at 100,000 subscribers, I was making, let's just say 13,000 a month. 500,000 subscribers, we were doing like 35, 40K a month. It was pretty crazy. And it was, the cost on this channel was only $1,000 a month. So the profit margins were insane. And that's why I was like, yo, I got to teach this. I got to show people like what's possible. And that's why we had many clients do bigger numbers than me. So that was that. Let me stop the recording there. So once those 2 of my 7 channels got shut down last year, that kind of put me in the headspace in 2024 to think like, what did I really want to teach? What do I really want to do? Obviously, I don't feel comfortable, especially after my my personal brand channel getting shut down. What do I want to do going forward? So I decided to close enrollment to Cashflow Channels back in March of this year, 2024. Closed enrollment. I'd also decided to stay away from social media for the past 6 months. So I haven't uploaded, haven't been doing much on there at all, and really just been gaining that mental clarity to think about what I want to do next. So and we'll talk about what I've been up to in the past 6 months, because I have been busy. I cannot just stand still. So the third lesson that I learned was optimize for easy. Now that's my motto for the year, optimize for easy. It's my motto for next year as well, because you really got to ask yourself when you are doing something, like, is this going to make my life easier in the long term, even though it will make it easier in the short term? Okay, because there's many choices that we make in life that will make things easy right now, but will be very, very difficult for us later on down the road. So being a homeowner, that house in Texas was our first primary residence that we purchased together. Obviously we had rental properties. So, we dealt with that, but we never lived in our own home that we owned. So owning a home, it's like this coveted thing, right? That especially like my parents and family being very persuasive that owning a home is good. It's a good thing, right? It's an investment. I could tell you right now, like, unless you're willing to live in like a piece of crap, which I guarantee that you don't want to live in a piece of crap, then a home is going to be a money pit. Okay. It is a money pit. Now, long term, if we owned this home for 10 years plus, sure. Okay. It would have made us a lot more money. We did make money on this house, but only because we freaking put so much money into it, customizing it and making it fully custom. But owning a home is a money pit. It's basically tying up your capital into something that only appreciates maybe on average, like 2% a year with inflation. But I think the average is like 5% a year. Okay. 5%. And you're basically locking up that down payment, that capital. So if you know how to use that capital to make 15, 20, 25% a year, then it would be beneficial to do that and then just to rent. And that's currently what we're doing now. Obviously, we will buy a home in the future, but for right now, we don't want to deal with the headache. HOA dues, maintenance cost, HOA sending you letters, property taxes, lightning nearly burning down the house. It was a street behind us, but still it was scary, seeing like flames and embers and stuff. Freezing pipes, right? Like, this is stuff that takes away from your mental clarity, takes away from your time. When you're trying to build a business, if you're young, if you're really getting after it, you do not have time to be spending on your house. Or like, our house is so clean. Like, my wife is very, very clean. So when a worker comes over, a serviceman who has to work on the HVAC or has to work on the plumbing or what have you, you have to like monitor them. You have to take time out of your midday, right? Midday while I'm filming, midday. Oh, let me get you the booties that you could put on your feet. And then I got to watch you to make sure you're not taking anything from our house or like what have you. It just was a major, major headache, where when you rent, you really don't think about these things. You're like, landlord, fix it. You know what I mean? And you don't have that attachment to the house, where when we had a house, we were very, very attached to it. It was perfect, spotless. Like, we always had compliments from from friends, neighbors. So yeah, that was one thing that we didn't think about. Like, is this going to make things easier for me in the short term? Yes, it did. We own the home. We have a kind of a set payment that's not going to increase every year. But long term, 2 years down the line, was kind of a headache. Another thing that I thought I was optimizing for easy ended up being very difficult and hard, like on our life in the long term, was I made a sizable 6-figure crypto bet. So I invested in some cryptos, to some altcoins to be specific, Render, Injective, Desync, some AI coins. I held a lot of AI coins, Nakamoto Games, gaming coins. I held about 7 coins, and I made a multiple 6-figure bet. And seeing your account literally go from 600,000 to 300,000 in the matter of 3 days is extremely, extremely mentally taxing. And it's not something I would advise if that's a significant amount of money for you, right? Like, that was a significant amount. Like, that's a lot. Like, if it was 1% of my portfolio, then okay, sure, I'm not as worried. But this was a sizable bet. And I spent a lot of time looking at charts, looking at CoinMarketCap every single day, obsessing about it, looking at my portfolio. If you're investing, that's not something you should be doing. If you look at your portfolio more than 30 minutes a day, more than an hour per day, there's something wrong with you. You're not in the right investments. They're too volatile for you, especially crypto, where, like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, it could get taken away. It could just, like, one of the coins I invested like 15K, and I just threw 15K at it because I was like, oh, this shit's gonna triple or quadruple in the next day. It did. It doubled. And then the next day went to 0. So it was a, pump and dump. It was straight up pump and dump. So optimizing for easy also with your investments. And that kind of rolls into my last point. Okay. I know this video has been gone 35 minutes. So what have I been doing in the past 6 months? Basically, I have been honing and refining my investing strategy. So I've always been invested in the stock market. I've always been a long-term holder of good companies: Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, the QQQ, right? NASDAQ, S&P 500, right? ETFs. I've always been an owner of shares, but I never really thought about how I can maximize my returns while reducing the risk I was taking. And I stumbled upon this strategy actually 10 years ago. This is something that I did 10 years ago, on and off. In 2019, when I was doing it the wrong way, to where I was over leveraged. I don't play with leverage anymore. Everything is cash secured. So what I've been able to do is, and I'm going to show you my accounts on my new channel. Okay. If you want access to my new socials, okay, you're going to have to click the link in the description. That is going to be my newsletter, where I'm going to be sending out the first email showing you exactly what I've been doing. I'm going to reveal it. But basically, I've been able to make 2 to 4% per month on my money. My portfolio, my stock portfolio, is already up over 40% for the year. I plan on closing out somewhere between 55 to 65% for the year. And this is something that I've been doing regarding options. Now, maybe you've heard of options, and we'll get more into this in the first video that I release, where I'm going to be doing a full tutorial on it. But this is something that I have 90% probability of profit. Like, I will show you my win rate. It's extremely high. And I'm profitable every single month because I am basically the casino. I'm the house. So the odds are in my favor, and it allows me to get my favorite stocks at cheaper prices while getting paid to do so. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. So if you want to follow along the journey and see me trade live a $500,000, well, it's around $600,000, 600,000, I'm turning it into 10 mil. I'm going to show you, I'm going to document the whole process. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I mean, very personal. Like I revealed a lot about me that you maybe you didn't know. So that's going to be me going forward, just revealing everything, because frankly, I'm in a position where I'm making, 6 figures trading options, and, I have plenty, and I just want to give back. I want to help others elevate so that hopefully someday you could work with me directly. I'm thinking about rolling out a mentorship, more of a one-on-one coaching mentorship. But yeah, we'll see in the future. So if you enjoyed, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to this video. That's super long, that you've stayed here with me. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.